All right, a little behind the scenes. Here's one of the camera setups. Here's another one, another camera angle, and here's the Big Daddy, which kind of looks like that. But I gotta configure it. But that is the podcast setup. All right, very simple. I got some notes, and I got the screen turned towards me so I could see what I'm doing. So I could do production while this is happening. This is definitely worthy of a video because working on this wall for the podcast has been a huge learning experience. A huge shout out to George for helping set up the wall, kind of be the brains behind the whole thing.
Oh, your mini table upstairs? Maybe you put that in front of this one and you have all your equipment on it.
What you were saying before, like, we didn't ask for any of this. The first generation expectations is extremely high. We have the burden to perform is very high, and it's very stressful, and I feel it all the time. But at the end of the day, what I do look at is like, okay, there's a sacrifice made for me, and what would be worse? Like, would I waste all of the sacrifice for my parents because it's too hard, or suck it up, take on the burden, but grow from it? And it doesn't have to, there's a way to deal with all of that. You don't have to put it all on your shoulders to bear. Like, I have a brother,
Exactly.
to help me in my shortcomings. So, we work together to bear that responsibility. I'm not improving. I think 10th grade and past, I was getting a lot better. And that's, those are some interesting times in my life. But hardship, the losing someone very close to you absolutely played a huge role in that, because the biggest motivation for me to get over my father passing away was to improve myself. There's nothing better to do than to think of the thought of your loved one looking back down at you and saying, I'm proud of myself. That is enough motivation for anyone. Do not be a tyrant to yourself. I truly mean this. And the whole premise of artificial intelligence is that essentially computers do not have senses like we do. Today I had a very interesting idea. It's going to be conversating with ChatGPT. Alright, so another day in the basement with Mike, and applying this sealant directly to the board, and that's one can right there. Another one. But this is the worst part. This, you have like 15 minutes to work with, so gotta go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We are finally in the studio after 6 months of hard work in the basement. Not just myself, my brother, and wonderful contractors that we had help with certain jobs in the basement. It was a fantastic experience. Coming to look at it at the end of 2024, right? Ask me during it, I would not say the same thing, okay? That's just how it is. That's just how it goes, okay? But man, it was worth it because now we have a full studio. I had 2 episodes already here this year with my brother and Puca on the Blaze Our Vision podcast. And guys, this is where it all came down to. I wanted to make this video to illustrate the whole journey. We first started off in 2023 with a podcast setup with 3 cameras, a green screen. We had a computer down here. And it was just basement, as you guys saw. It was just concrete walls, basement. That's why the green screen was required at the time. And that's how I was planning to move forward with the basement. But as you guys saw, that podcast or whatever, that setup, you never saw. It never aired. It was something that I tried to execute on, but never followed through. I did not follow through. I I did A, B, but did not do C and D, right? That was my whole thing with the personal development episodes where I'm saying I don't want to be the guy anymore who says he's going to do something and not follow through. And there's a lot of me in that and my own experiences when I say it because I've always been that person. I've always been that guy who just says he's going to do something. He may end up doing it eventually, but he says it a lot in the beginning. He talks about it a little too much. I have 15 people that have reached out to me this year that want to join the Blaze Our Vision podcast. And can I just say, thank you so much to you guys because without your interest, it's really difficult to find guests that are willing to come on video and talk about certain things. It's easier said than done because, even for myself before I started, there are certain things I didn't want to talk about on camera, but now I'm a lot more comfortable with talking about it because I'm more conscious, I guess, of what I'm saying and more accountable. And I try to give a take that I'm more easily able to defend. Like, I have some hot takes, guys. If you know me in person, I have a lot of hot takes. I have a lot of ideas that I don't fully know how to articulate to the end, which means they're not fully fleshed out yet. So sometimes I dabble with new ideas on the podcast, and sometimes I'll reiterate things I've been talking about for a long time. And so it's a balance of bringing both of those things because I have some stable ideas that I've held for quite a few years, and there's some that I'm trying brand new on the podcast. And it's a very fun thing to do because you're getting live feedback while you do it. You're engaging with someone else that can challenge those ideas or augment those ideas. And it's just such a fun dynamic. And I never thought a couple years I'd be starting a podcast. So before even 2023, if you asked me if I was going to do a podcast, I don't know. Maybe I was going to do YouTube, but I wasn't going to do podcasting. So if you even look further back on this YouTube channel, I have a decade plus of content on this channel. It was mostly a gaming channel for most of my life. And a lot of those years, I mingled in some programming videos. And it was basically, you can see how my journey started as a programmer as well from my YouTube channel, because I've documented a lot of the big software that I worked on at the time. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a whole recap of me starting the podcast for the very first time all the way to this point, actually starting Blaze Our Vision podcast. It was quite a few steps, as you were able to see. I finally put it together in a montage and try to paint the whole picture.